A great change took place in the cotton industry in the last quarter of the 18th century. Instead of making cotton threads in people's houses, manufacturers set up new factories. This was the beginning of the factory age.
The importance of cotton. Woolen cloth had been made in Britain for many centuries. This work was usually done in small workshops or in people's cottages. The large factories in which textiles were produced had changed the face of Britain, and cotton had become much more important than wool. Exports of cotton goods were worth only £11,000 per year in the 1740s, but this had risen to £17 million by 1820s. By 1850, cotton goods were the leading British export. Why did the changes happen?
The population was increasing and therefore the demand for textile was growing. The population of the British Isles went from nearly 10.7 million in 1750 to over 27.4 million in 1850. Producers of textiles knew they could get rich by producing more goods. Do you think that Britain's population increase alone explains why the cotton industry grew?
Secondly, the supply of raw cotton became much more plentiful, which meant that the finished product was cheaper and more people could afford it. When America was a British colony, the growing of cotton was banned in order to protect Britain's trade with her colonies in the West Indies and India. However, America became independent in 1783, and the Americans looked for new products to grow and sell. Cotton plantations soon became very successful in the southern states of America, and imports of raw cotton from the USA into Britain grew from under £500,000 in 1790 to £55 million by 1810. This development in the cotton trade led Britain into the modern industrialized world.
Thirdly, people spent more money in the 18th century, some of which was spent on clothes. This is similar to our first reason in that it suggests that there was an increase in demand for cotton.
Fourthly, there was a great expansion in trade. Britain was the world's leading trading nation in the late 18th century. British ships carrying goods could be found all over the world. This meant that cotton manufacturers were not limited to the amount of cotton they could sell at home. There was a huge export market. By the early 19th century, cotton goods made up nearly half of all British exports. Woolen cloth and raw wool also became valuable exports as the northern wool towns became world famous for the high quality of their products.
A series of new inventions speeded up the process of making cotton goods. These were the most important new textile machines.
The machines that could be used at home, for example, was the flying shuttle made by John Kay in 1733, which made weaving a much quicker process. Also, the spinning jenny, made by James Hargreaves in 1764, which could spin 8 yarns at once.
The machines that were big and needed factories were, example, the water frame made by Richard Arkwright in 1769. It's powered by water and therefore could only be used in factories, made much stronger thread. The mule, made by Samuel Crompton in 1784. It made high quality strong thread. The power loom by Edmund Cartwright made in 1786 continued to be adopted until it slowly took over weaving, powered by water or steam.
Right. Father of the factory system? Historians have argued about how Britain was able to become the first industrial nation. One of the things they have disagreed about is how much importance to attach to the individual inventors. You can see from the table of inventions that Richard Arkwright was responsible for the introduction of a factory machine called the water frame.
Some of the early inventors, such as James Hargreaves, had their ideas stolen and made no money out of their inventions. Arkwright was determined to be different. He was a barber by trade, but traveling in Lancashire, he knew that there was a huge demand for cheap yarn and he decided to do something about this.
Arkwright needed financial help if his invention was to make money. He found a partner, Jedediah Strutt, a hosiery manufacturer. His backing meant that he could try to improve his machine and build several factories, the first of which was at Cromford in Derbyshire. He was also the first to use steam power in a cotton mill. His workers had to work 12-hour shifts to boost his profits. Overall, the birth of the factory was a huge step for the British Empire, as it has increased its profits and expanded its empire vastly. This is all due to the fact that new inventions were being made all the time.
Thank you for watching our presentation.